My next guest got a round 2 win in her debut amateur fight at Colorado Combat Club 11. And of course, it is Maia Schmidt on the show. Maia, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. And, I talked a little bit to your head coach, Nick Urso. You were one of the fighters that I feel like he's very high on here moving forward. And this is just your amateur debut. So what was the pressure like for you going in there and ultimately getting the win?
So I've been training for a really long time, and I've been asking Nick for a fight for an entire year now, and he's just been telling me to be patient, be patient, be patient. So there was definitely a lot of anticipation for me. I was really excited, but I've been working really hard in the past year, so I felt very confident going in. My sister was following me around. She's a filmmaker, so she was following me around with like a little documentary crew, so that added on a little extra pressure. But all in all, I think I perform well when there's a little bit of expectation there and everything. So I was happy with how it went, and yeah.
So you say you've been bugging Coach Urso for a while now to get in there and fight. Is this just a case where he wanted you to wait a little while until you were 1,000% ready, or did you have a tough time finding a fight?
No, he wanted me to be 1,000% ready. I was very, very green when I came into Jackson's Acoma. I'd been training for a couple of years on and off, but this is the most consistent I've ever been. And he's really been amazing in putting time and effort and work into me. And I appreciate everything he's done for me. And I'm glad he made me wait in the long run.
All right. So as far as like prior to walking down to the cage, what were those nerves like? How did you feel before you actually stepped in there and made your debut?
I was actually very surprised that I was not nervous at all. I wasn't nervous until about 5 minutes before I went down because Ray was wrapping someone else's hands on our team. He was wrapping Ash's hands, and I hadn't warmed up yet. So that was the only reason I was nervous, because I was like, okay, first fight's done. Second fight, oh no, that one's done now too. I need to warm up. So that was the only reason I felt nervous, just because I waited till the very last minute to warm up. But I was surprised with myself that I wasn't more nervous. I was back there dancing and hanging out and, joking around. And it was nice. It was nice feeling just calm, cool, and collected for sure.
So your opponent, Jessica Pitts, she was 2-1 going into this fight. So I guess you had a little bit of tape to go off of, right? Did you guys dissect her tape from previous fights, and did you guys have like a certain game plan for this one?
Not too much. I watched, the only two things I could find on her was a grappling match and a kickboxing match. I watched the kickboxing match once, and all in all just felt confident there, and then watched like half of her grappling match, and there I felt confident too. So really the only thing I was working on was just my own technique and my own skills, and not focusing too much on like capitalizing on her pitfalls or whatever may be there. I was really just focusing on getting my own skills better.
So ultimately you got the finish in round 2. Is there anything that transpired in round 1 or early on in round 2 that maybe you can take from moving forward, like you learned something to make yourself a better fighter?
Yeah, so I definitely, in round 1, I was throwing those teeps a lot, and she was catching them. And so I took those away a little bit more in round 2, and started using my leg kicks a little bit more, my double kicks. I definitely want to work on my kicking accuracy. Definitely want to work on my wrestling and jiu-jitsu. There was no wrestling or jiu-jitsu in that fight, but I really just want to be a super well-rounded fighter. But I also definitely need to work on sparring without my contacts in, because that was the only the second time that I've ever done any combat stuff without my contacts in. So actually, when I hurt her, I had no idea that I had hurt her. And I just heard my corners going, go, go, she's hurt. And I was like, I guess I should keep going forward then. So I couldn't see what was happening. So I definitely need to also just practice, sparring and grappling and everything blind.
Well, it's so funny that you say that because, you know, I've never stepped in and had an amateur or pro fight, but I do train and I've sparred a lot and I'm blind as a bat. Like if I don't have my contacts or my glasses in, I can't see anything. So I can't imagine how difficult that was for you. You were in there throughout the whole fight, not being able to really see her all that well, and you still found a way to get the win.
Yeah, yeah. The hardest part, ironically, was the walkout because they had a really weird pathway that wasn't really a pathway. Everyone was kind of standing in the way. So I was like, I hope I'm walking in the right direction, not looking like a dummy right now. But yeah, it was also challenging just knowing when she was injured, when I was doing good and everything, because I couldn't see her face at all. I couldn't see, what her body language was like. I just saw a shape in front of me and kept aiming for the shape. So, yeah.
Have you thought about maybe getting LASIK? I know a lot of fighters have gone that route. I mean, make it a lot easier for you so you don't have to worry about, fighting with your contacts and moving forward.
Yeah, I would really like to do that one day. I think one of my biggest dreams in life is to wake up and just be able to see the world in front of me without having to put glasses or contacts in. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to wait until I'm 25. I'm about to be 23, so I got a couple more years in front of me. But until then, I mean, I think it would be cool to learn how to do things better blind, because then when I can see, who knows how much better I'll be,
That's a scary thought. So run us through the feeling of this victory, your amateur debut. You go in there, you don't get a decision win, you finish her, you get an actual round 2 finish via strike. So what did that feel like afterwards?
Oh man, it was the highest high that I've ever been on in my life. It felt so good. It's exactly how I wanted to finish it. Well, almost exactly. I wanted to get the KO, but I'll get the TKO. I'm fine with that. But yeah, I felt really proud of myself, really thankful for my team, really thankful for my coaches. My training partners came out and supported me, and obviously my coaches were in my corner and everything. And I felt really happy and really, really thankful for the people that I'm blessed to train with and blessed to have in my life. And I can't wait to go back in there and do it all again.
What is your background in combat sports? How did you find, MMA and get on this path?
Yeah, I actually took a self-defense class when I was like 15 or 16, and I really liked just punching and kicking stuff. And I was like, Mom, Dad, please let me, train in MMA and stuff. And they're like, absolutely not, hell no. So as soon as I turned 18, I went and signed my own waiver and started training from there. And I was pretty off and on for a couple years there. And this is, like I said, this is the most consistent I've ever been. And I always knew that I couldn't really live without training, but now I know for sure that I can't live without fighting too. And I feel like I was born for this.
So the Fit Mango, that's your nickname, or at least your Instagram handle.
Yeah.
Run me through that. How did that whole moniker come about?
So I'm no longer vegan, but I was vegan for 7 years. And I went through this weird phase of my life when I was actually starting up my Instagram. I went through this weird phase where I would be eating like 5, 6, 7 mangoes a day. I was just obsessed with mangoes. So I was like, might as well, I'm fit, I like mangoes, might as well be the Fit Mango. And it stuck, and now most people know me as Mango instead of Maia. So I won't be changing it anytime soon, and I still love mangoes, so it works.
There you go. I love it. And I love mangoes too. So you're on to something right there. Tell me about what it's like to train under Nick Urso there at Jackson's Acoma. I know, he was a former fighter in his day and he did very well for himself. And now he's got some great fighters under him, guys that, used to be in the UFC, are still in the UFC, and yourself, that I'm sure ultimately that's your goal. You want to get to the UFC. So just run me through what it's like day to day there and just what it's like, being there with all the people around you.
Yeah, I really like how close knit our team is. Our actual competitive team is. We're all really good friends and everything, and it's awesome. Nick is a really intense guy for sure, but all in all, I think it always pays off. It ultimately makes us tougher fighters, tougher people, tougher humans. And Yeah, he gives a lot of individualized attention to everybody, especially when we're, going through our own fight camps and everything. He really works on building us up to be better teammates, better partners, better fighters overall. And yeah, he's an amazing guy. I'm very thankful to be there, and I plan on staying there for a very long time.
How's Lando Venata looking? I got an interview with him around the corner. I know his fight is right around the corner too, so I'm sure he's looking great in camp, right?
Oh yeah, he looks awesome. He's shredded right now for sure. He has his new facial hair on, his new haircut. And yeah, he's looking sharp in the gym for sure. And he's staying groovy.
Right, groovy Venata. I love it. Now you have to have a job, right, or something else that you're doing because you just had your amateur debut, so you can't be full-time MMA yet. So just what is your day-to-day like? Like, what else do you have to do to balance here at
The Performance Ranch. I work at the Performance Ranch. I'm a coach over there. So I work with more like your typical day-to-day kind of person who just wants to get in shape and live a healthier, happier life. We really focus on staying mobile, staying happy, staying healthy. I'm also starting in May, going to be the nutrition coach over there, which is really exciting, especially going through this last camp and this last weight cut. I've gotten more and more and more interested in nutrition and food and, macros and all of that. And I'm really excited about that. And so, yeah, that's, I work there and I train there, and it's been great.
Fantastic. So what are your goals, Maia, moving forward? I mean, obviously, I imagine you want to rack up some wins here as an amateur, ultimately turn pro. Like, run me through like your mindset over the next few years. Like, what are you hoping happens for yourself?
I just want to go as far as I possibly can in the next few years. I'm hoping this year I can just get as many amateur fights under my belt as I can. Ultimately, that's a little bit up to Nick as well. He knows I'll just go in there and throw down, but he's methodical, and I appreciate that about him. So, but yeah, I want to get in there, get as many fights under my belt as I can, and hopefully turn pro in the next year or two. From there, I would love to be signed with, Invicta, Bellator, UFC, any one of them. And yeah, I want this to be what I do every day, all day, and ultimately have this be my full-time job.
Well, you're off to a great start. Again, Colorado Combat Club 11. Maia Schmidt gets a round 2 win via strikes in her amateur debut. Great talking to you here for the first time, Maia. Before I let you go, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media. And if you have anyone to thank, any sponsors, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. You can follow me on Instagram at the_fit_mango. I'd like to shout out Nick Urso, Ray Borg, both for being in my corner. I appreciate them both. Sophia Smith and Jacob Diz for being my training partners through this whole camp. Shout out to the Performance Ranch, Marikai, and Chocolate Dude for being my sponsors during this fight. And thank you to you for having me on. I really appreciate it.